What is up, Earthnoids and Spacenoids? I am just a simple new type, and in this episode, we are diving into the second trailer of Gundam Requiem for Vengeance. This series will be directed by Erasmus Brostow. It is a joint venture between Netflix Anime and Safehouse. Many sources say to expect this on October 17th, 2024, but I wouldn't hold my breath with that exact date. So let's dive into this. What do we know so far? One thing is that this takes place on November 6th of UC 0079. This is one day before Operation Odessa, as this is following events from the side of the Principality of Zeon around the European front, and considering the entire tone of this show is quite grim, we can make an assumption here that this isn't going to go well for this team. For those that don't know, Operation Odessa took place on Earth from November 7th to November 10th of UC 0079. The first landing operation marked the invasion by Zeon. After occupying Earth territory, it was time to push them back out into space. This plan, enacted by General Revel, is known as Operation Odessa and is the biggest land battle during the 1-year war. Odessa was the last location before EFF pushed Zeon forces to retreat off-planet. Although this probably doesn't take place in Odessa itself, we know it is in the European front, and Zeon will constantly be pushed out of the territory. One of the first shots we see is a Zeon company marching through town. One thing about this company is that they do have Magella attack tanks. If you followed along in our History of the 1-Year War videos, you know that the Magella attack tank is the main battle tank of Zeon. It has a 3-barrel machine gun and its main 170mm cannon. The cannon is attached to the top half of the tank, which could be detached and even fly around. However, while flying, the 175mm cannon's accuracy is greatly reduced. Also, this tank's flight mode only has a few minutes. The original mobile suit makes them out to be more like little tiny mobile armors. It was also the tank that Crowley Hammond tried to use to kill Amado Ray.
This is Sentinel 2 lead. We read you loud and clear. I need those mobile suits on the ground now! Deploy your 42!
You heard the Major. Red Wolves, prepare to drop.
In this next shot, we see 2 Gaus flying over a city. The Gau is an atmospheric bomber and transport vehicle powered by thermonuclear jet engines. These guys are so chunky that physics can't support their weight and size, thus the need for nuclear power. I always find it funny that the atmospheric aircraft designed by people who live in space use sheer power instead of lift and aerodynamics. Its ability to carry both a lot of bombs as well as mobile suits makes this vehicle a very important one for Zaf during this time on Earth. In the original series, Garmazabi was shot down in the Gau. In the next shot, we see a mobile suit pilot prepping for launch. They are referred to as the Red Wolves. This is where we get the title card, November 6, UC 0079, European Front. Very brief, but it paints a giant picture for us about its place in the 1-year war. If I had to guess, the events of Operation Odessa itself will set the events in motion for this team. We see inside the cockpit of the Zaku 2. We know this because we can see some shield sensor layout with the Zaku model in the top left corner. We also see the Zaku loadout. It looks like it has a 120mm machine gun, a Sturmfaust, the Zaku bazooka, and the Heat Hawk. This is a standard loadout for the MS-06J Zaku 2 ground type. The UI is glitching, but it looks very similar to the GBO2 UI elements. And then we get a close-up of the 120mm machine gun. It definitely looks like the standard M120A1, which has come a long way since 1979. Then we get the title card, The Revolutionary War. Now remember, the Zeon propaganda was to frame this as a revolutionary war, because to their side, It is. Writing off the ideals of Zeonzum Daikun, the Zabis used him to frame this war as a revolution to their people. We get a close-up of the Zaku head, followed by probably what I consider the best visual of what's inside of a Gao. It seems to be capable of holding 4 Zakus.
Charlie, are you holding up?
Don't worry about me.
They jump out of the Gao, mid-battle, only for the Gao to be destroyed. We get a series of quick shots. If we freeze, we see a shot of an explosion of one of the Magella attack tanks we saw earlier, followed by what looks like the Core Fighter in action firing its Vulcans. The Core Fighter is a version of the core block system that integrates nicely with the RX-78-2 Gundam. We see Amado Ray pilot this along with others like Hayato and Ryu. Then we get 2 shots of a Zaku with the parachute deployed. This is definitely a ground type if it needs the assistance of a parachute. The Zaku squad lands on Earth. We see their spiked shoulder shields painted red. It also seems like the Zaku in the back is red, similar to the Red Comet. Although I doubt this will be Char in any way, shape, or form. This will most likely be the squad leader, who goes by some name like Red Wolf, if I had to guess. We cut to one of the Zakus taking out a Type 61 tank. The Type 61 tank was used throughout the 1 Year War, and we have seen it pop up in the past, but its glory days were back in UC-0061. Since the creation of the mobile suit, the tank has become obsolete for the most part. The Zaku destroying the tank in a few frames, not seconds, frames, prove its obsolescence. We get a close-up of the He-Hawk. This is the quintessential melee weapon for the Zaku. It tears into another Type 61 tank. We get a close-up of the Red Wolf Squad logo, followed by the money shot of the 4 units in slow motion, with the red one in front. Then we get a Zaku tank that is retrofitted with a plow on the front, maybe repurposed for farming or murdering these cows, we don't know yet. The MS-06V Zaku tank is the product of Zeon's desperation towards the end of the 1 Year War. They need more artillery and were low on parts. Many squads took the upper body of the Zaku 2 and planted it on the top of the base of the Magella attack tank to make this Frankenstein mobile armor. We also saw Elidor and Mikkel escape Zeon's clutches in one of these tanks during Mobile Suit Gundam 8th MS Team. Then we get a quick view of the team outside their mobile suits. We got the suave guitar playing guy, the comic relief dude, the wise old veteran, the rookie, and the rough and tough gal. Iria Surari is our protagonist of the story. We also see what looks like a Zaku tank cannon type tearing through the forest. Based on the back thrusters and the skirt, this is definitely a GM heading towards the Zaku. Specifically, I think this is a land combat type. The RGM-79F GM land combat type is a ground use variant of the GM, which later evolved into the desert GM. Its torso has reinforced armor and is said to be able to take the shell impact of the Zaku's machine gun. It was also deployed on the European front during the end of the 1 Year War, which just so happens to be the time and location of this story. However, the shoulder-mounted gun makes me think it could also be an armored GM.
What the hell is that?
We see some Magella attack tanks in flight mode using its Vulcans and eventually going down by the hands of the mysterious Gundam, which you see for the first time in a few frames. This Red Wolves team seems to look out in awe. Then we cut to the second money shot, showing the Gundam as it walks through the fiery remains. The Gundam looks over to the Zeon team before cutting directly to the logo, Gundam Requiem for Vengeance. Now we know absolutely nothing about what this unit will be. As all Gundam shows are designed to sell Gunpla, this will be a unique unit in its own right. But it does kind of have some elements of the RX-79 Gundam. We saw the Ground Gundam in action in 8th MS Team, but its pale gray color scheme gives it a ghostly-like appearance, which is what this show is going for, I guess. But that will do it for this trailer breakdown. I love any show that shows me the grunt of the 1 Year War, whether it's EFF or Xeon. Brosdown mentions that he is heavily influenced by 8th MS Team and Thunderbolt, so that brings me some hope about this series. The character models in this show are already 1,000 times superior to what we saw from the Igloo series. This is the first time I did a video like this, so let me know if you want me to make more videos about any upcoming projects. Once I finish the History of CE73 video series, I will most likely do something similar with the Mobile Suit Gundam Seed Freedom trailers. Until next time, new types, remember, if all your Magella attack tanks are destroyed by a mysterious Gundam, maybe start running instead of staring. Peace.